This is Cult Faction Podcast, episode 26, Resurrections, Dissections, and Introspection.
Superman.
Hi, this is Cult Faction Podcast, episode 26, Resurrections, Dissections, and Introspections. I wonder why we come up with titles that I can't say very well every time it's my turn to host, but never mind. Such is my luck. I'm Damien, and as ever, I am joined by...
Paul Hawkins.
And Brett Summers.
Cool, they've both looked up from their phones now to say that, so we're cooking with gas now.
I was checking my notes.
Checking my notes.
Paul, what? You've dropped the W.
Oh, yeah. It's just Paul Hawkins. When did that...
He's gone street cash. He's gone
I've
street
always
cash.
been Paul Hawkins. You refer to me as Paul W. Hawkins on the reviews, because that's what it comes up as.
You set that to say
Yeah.
that.
You insisted that you were Paul W.
I didn't
Hawkins.
say that.
I can't set your thing up. That's you.
Well, it must ask for a middle initial, and I've given it. Hence why.
Never asked me for a middle initial.
Anyway, before we...
Probably.
well, let's just calm down.
He's took his watch off.
He's rolled his sleeves up. So, in another week that's been full of televisual delights and...
There's been a
Movie
lot going on
shenanigans.
this week. There's been all sorts of cool things and not so cool things happening.
Indeed. So, I'm going to throw over to Paul, because I think Brett went first last week. So, Paul, what have you been watching?
Nothing.
What's been... What?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Oh, okay. you got me. All right. So, see the next episode dropped on Apple TV. So we watched that Sunday night.
Is it holding up? Is it holding up?
Well, it's episode 3. So this is more of the...
Because we were liking it so far, weren't we? If anyone's not listening, we were liking it so far.
Yeah. So
And this is season 2, episode 3, sorry, isn't it?
that's right.
Yeah.
So episode 1, episode 2, lots of fighting, lots of torture, all that kind of good stuff that you want to see.
In Sunday night television.
Yeah, but yeah. Episode 3 is, as I said, more of the storytelling episode. So it's-
Character building.
yeah. So not as many adventures as the first 2, but no doubt really important to watch. So yeah, it's really just setting the scene. So Jason Momoa has escaped. He's going to go back to find his ex-wife, well, wife, even though she's deserted him, and he thought she was dead. She's actually alive, and he's going to reunite.
Spoilers.
Well, no, it's not for the Watcher, because the Watcher knows that she's alive,
Oh, okay.
because she's with her sister, who's the Queen.
Well, a bit of dramatic irony for the watchers.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so he's going to reunite his daughter with his wife and his son, who are with the Queen. The Queen's basically realm building. Her sister's almost plotting against her to try. Yeah. It's just a lot of storyline building. It's okay, and no doubt is important for the rest of the season. But yeah, not really much to comment on. So what to go for next? Okay, so I come back to the last couple of films. I want to get rid of. I want to get one out of the way straight away. Called Hero Mode on Sky Movies.
I did see that, and I
saw the film?
No, I've seen it on there,
Right.
and I nearly clicked on it the other day, but then I didn't.
Well, I saw the spiel which said, some teenager has 30 days to come up with like the perfect game to save his family. So, okay, this might be worth a watch, because obviously I just finished Mythic Quest, all about making games.
Which I've just started, by the way.
Oh, so you subscribe to Apple TV? Fantastic.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So
Free trial.
I thought I'd sample the fridge.
So my advice to you about Hero Mode, Brett, is don't. don't bother. It's rubbish. Yeah, no.
Is it thunderously rubbish?
No, no. It's not even that bad to be good. Not that.
No, I'm saying, is it thunderously, like with Thunder Force?
Yeah, no,
Is
I know
it that rubbish. Yeah.
we got that. It's just Thunder Force.
I was just checking.
Thunder Force some people might think, oh, that's comically good because it's so bad. I didn't. You didn't. Damien didn't. But no. Hero Mode is just a waste of everyone's time who made it. It had Sean Astin in it as well. But
That's a shame.
But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed.
But he is a bit Sean DTV Aston nowadays, isn't he? As much as he had Lord of the Rings, he's 24 as well. He was good in, and a few other bits here and there. But
didn't he do that one where there's like vampires that have come back?
Lost Boys 8.
No, it was like a Channel 5 thing. I'm sure there's something about vampires that have come back, and he plays some scientist. I could be wrong.
They may have that. Oh, that does ring a bell with him as a scientist. No, he's in Stranger Things, wasn't he as well?
No, but I'm sure he was in that.
That's what I'm thinking. He was in Stranger Things.
Yeah, he was definitely in Stranger Things. He was I don't know anything. I can't think of anything.
The boyfriend. He was Winona Ryder's boyfriend.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't that.
It was like an 80s power couple.
This isn't a Sean Astin episode though, so as I said, don't watch it.
Ooh, let's move on then, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll discuss his career another day.
So let's see, that's Hero Mode that nobody ever should watch in their entire life. I took it up to a serious note this week as well.
Ooh. It's not Beaches, is it?
No. So obviously, the last couple of weeks we've been the anniversary of 9/11. So there's been lots of different films out about that. You know, so some of which we've probably all seen before. With Nick Cage playing firefighter and this kind of good stuff.
Hashtag Cage Watch.
Oh, yeah, I have to mention his name at some point every episode. So this time I started watching a film called Worth, and this was with Michael Keaton, Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, Tucci.
You say Tucci, I say Tucci. And this is about a guy that was a lawyer out in the States. It's based on loosely based on, I don't know, but based on true events. So his job that he took on pro bono was to basically work for the government as master of chief or something for a families fund or a 9/11 fund to basically pay out compensation to the families of the victims. So and the rationale for that was the airlines didn't want everyone coming at them, suing them, and basically crippling the company, the whole country and their companies. So the government passed a bill in one day to say, okay, we're going to set up this compensation fund. 80% of the survivors basically have to sign up to it. Done. And they get Michael Keaton on board to basically run that process. And he devises
the character Michael Keaton plays. It wasn't actually Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
It sounded like
himself.
They reached out to Michael Keaton back in 2000. Hey, can you come and sort this out for us?
They saw him in Batman.
You haven't got any acting gigs.
They know that he's the man for the job.
This was obviously pre-Birdcage or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Birdman.
Birdcage is
which I
entirely
still
different film.
think was not that good.
No, I didn't rate it at all.
No, I didn't like it.
Overrated piece of twaddle. Yeah. Not as clever as it thinks it is.
Yeah, pretty much. So his job is to basically run the process. He comes up with a formula that calculates what the government will pay the families.
So have you watched the film about maths?
No, there's only a little bit in it. But
Stunned him into silence then.
No, because
I know how much he likes maths.
Well, I thought you meant, have you watched the film about maths? It's like, is that like the theory of everything? What is this a different
pie?
Yeah. So he comes up with a formula. It's like based on salary, based on the amount of kids that they've got. Based
I don't
on
think I'm going to watch this at the moment. But carry on.
No.
He basically plays.
I've seen the trailer for it.
He basically plays that back to the majority of the victims' families. They all hate him anyway because they think he's working for the government. Is it any good? I ask you.
It should be after the 20 minutes you've just told us about it.
So, I think the issue for me is that obviously Michael Keaton's playing the solicitor who is very insular and is trying to be very insular. He's trying to stay away. He's not really a people person.
I don't want this to affect me, man.
Yeah, but he kind of... It's like he's doing it too. I was going to say too well. It's like he's taking it on board, but because he does it like that, it's hard to actually have any emotion for him. Like feel sorry for him because people aren't signing up, and even when he does break through and like he chats to the families, there's no real emotional content. If Tom Hanks was doing the role, you know that there would be a couple of moments where you've got a lump in your throat because that's Tom Hanks, and he always has that emotional bit to it. But again, Michael Keaton's come in there a bit cold throughout. So that'd be my only take.
Perhaps the original lawyer was cold.
No, he is.
Well, there you go then. So,
but that's what I mean. If it was a Tom Hanks film, Tom Hanks would have deliberately.
but then it wouldn't be
I know.
Tom Hanks
true
film.
to the story, would
I'm
it?
just trying.
Surely if
to,
it was a Tom Hanks film, he would have got a wish.
I'm just trying to explain.
And I'd hope the wish would be to stop it happening rather than
And
just
Meg
throw it out
Ryan
the
would have
window.
been one of the wives of the victims, and they
Oh,
would have
Meg.
had an
She'd
affair.
have
and-
died in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
But
Either
I'm
way.
just trying to explain. So it may have been really realistic and true to life, but it's really hard to get involved with the character because he's so insular.
To be fair, most films where Tom Hanks is involved in property don't end well.
Yeah, so I'd probably give that a 6 out of 10, and I think it's on Netflix as well.
Oh, there's more, isn't there?
Of course, there's more.
There's
There's
more.
always more.
The's more. I can see he's excited.
Well, I was getting on to the
building
next
up.
film.
And that's what I'm saying. There's
Oh,
more.
okay.
I'm building
Yeah,
you
yeah,
up. I'm cheering you up, man.
So I decided to start Halloween a little bit early.
Ooh.
Okay.
You didn't go around knocking people's doors asking for candy, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You've been told about that.
Yeah, throwing pumpkins at.
I don't want to know what costume it was this time, but you weren't invisible last time.
So the first film I watched is, I was going to say it's an old film. It's not too old, but it's probably about 15 years old. Cabin in the Woods.
Great film.
Oh, The Cabin in the
Yeah.
Woods. So this is Joss Whedon.
Love that film.
Written and directed. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
think he directed it, yeah. It also stars the likes of Chris Hemsworth, a number of others as well.
Before he found a gym.
Yeah, he's not skinny, but he's really buffed up over the years.
He's definitely found those vitamin supplements.
But yeah, so a couple of films are very much teenagers in woods, and The Cabin in the Woods was the first one I watched. For those who haven't seen it, to me, it's a must-watch. It really,
It's one of the best meta horrors ever, I think.
yeah. So that the way that it's really cleverly done, picking out on the obvious traits from all horror films and the rationale behind them. And the main character cottons onto the fact that they're being watched, that they're some part of this scheme, and they try and battle against it. I won't give away the ending, but the ending is kind of fantastic. Last half hour of that film, I just love.
So yeah, do give it a watch, despite what everyone may think of Mr. Joss Whedon nowadays. It's still very much worth a watch. That if you're really into that, I don't know. This might be one for you, Paul, to write down if you can find it somewhere. Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Very much a similar vein, but with regards to sort of your Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers characters. He's trying to create himself as this character, and there's a whole lot of, again, that sort of meta horror stuff for you to get your teeth into.
Yeah, cool.
So you'd like that.
So that was the first film I watched with teenagers going into the woods.
Just saying, you didn't watch this with the family.
No, they're all in bed.
Really?
The second film I watched with teenagers going into the woods, meeting their demise, was Wrong Turn, the 2021 version of Wrong Turn.
I don't know. Oh no, I haven't seen that.
And this
Tell me
stars
more.
This stars Charlotte Vega, Aidan Bradley, Bill Sage, Emma Dumont. Most importantly, Matthew Modine comes back. He plays the main character's husband.
Yeah, I was going to say, when
father.
you say the 2021 version, is it not a continuation of the... I thought it was not a sequel per se, but
I
all
think it
part
was.
of the same...
I don't
It's
think...
not a remake, though, is it?
Well, I couldn't see
Maybe
anything.
it's a reimagining.
Well, that's what I assumed it was.
No,
I'll have a look
Just
while
literally
you-
going by the title card when I see it on Netflix, and I just assumed that it was
I'll have a look while you discuss.
Part of the
It felt like a reimagination.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm not. I didn't.
No,
I don't
I
know.
know.
I just thought it was like
It is a
churning out another
reboot. It is a reboot of the Wrong Turn film series.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, again,
Not that that makes it any better. But
several teenagers go off into the woods on a hiking mission in the Appalachian Trail.
yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yay! So they've gone off. Lo and behold, before they after they get kicked in by the locals or warned off by the locals, however you want to take it, that they go off onto the trail. Lo and behold, things start happening. A couple of them meet an ugly demise. One of them gets caught into a trap, who then gets carried off by some strange, mysterious individuals dressed up in like stags' heads and all this kind of weird garb.
In what? Sorry.
Stags'
Stag.
head mask things.
I generally thought you said slag's heads.
You slag.
Legs.
You slag.
Just like they're in a Viz comic.
So,
In the woods, you got some slags.
so they obviously try and fight back. The fight back doesn't work. They get
different
kidnapped
film.
by this group of people called the Foundation that live in the woods, basically waiting for the fall of the US, where they can be the only people to survive. Matthew Modine goes.
Just as a side note, I just go, what happened to Matthew Modine?
I know, yeah.
Take your drugs, kids.
So Matthew Modine goes looking for his daughter, and the rest is the story of what happens. It's actually a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I was in two minds of whether even to bother, because obviously Wrong Turn, it's a few years old now, and I'm sure I've seen
Yeah,
that.
so it's quite well. That's why I haven't. Like you just said, you're in two minds.
Yeah.
Your mind ended up watching it. My mind was like, nah.
No, but it's definitely worth watching. I mean, it's got a really nice balance of there's still a bit of suspense. Yeah, you kind of know what's going to happen because that's from the get-go, but it gets you there in a really good way. There's some really gory scenes as well. They haven't scrimped on the visual effects. They're really good. So when someone's skull is crushed, yeah, you can believe it's being crushed. The really interesting thing is Charlotte Vega, who plays the main character, the teenager in this. If I'm honest, there's a couple of bits that don't sit well, i.e., it doesn't really give it away. So she gets kidnapped, as I said, and literally within the space of a week, she becomes an expert with a dagger and a crossbow. I mean, literally.
That does happen. I found that in lockdown.
Yeah, but she could give Katniss Everdeen a run for her money, or whatever her name is. So that kind of.
Mine was more a corkscrew and a drumstick as well, so it's a bit
Yeah,
different.
but she almost becomes a badass killer in the space of a week. But it's definitely worth a watch. And even at the end, there's some twists and turns, really good ones as well.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth an hour and 47 minutes or whatever it might be.
No, it's good that they're getting back to like that, because they kind of, that sort of thing got done to death for a little while, didn't it? And
Well, and everything became vampires and werewolves.
Yeah,
or werewolves.
or sparkly vampires who aren't really vampires. And the whole world saluted a film about a 600-year-old man who liked a 15-year-old girl.
Harvey Weinstein.
Twilight.
Oh, right.
Similar. And they both had a full head of hair. You know, so yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad those films are crawling back out of the sort of overexposed dirge that they kind of ended up in.
Yeah, might change my mind. Go back on.
But yeah, you've interested me, Paul. You've interested me.
So yeah, other than some random films that we don't need to talk about on Cult Faction because they're not really cult at all, that's it. Apart from Vigil, which I don't need to talk about.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So that.
Just go and look it up on BBC. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need us to talk about it.
No, if you want to watch
Well,
it, watch
we've
it.
given you enough tasters of that over the last few episodes.
Well, I just kind of think
it.
if Damien's not talking about Vera anymore, I should probably drop Vigil.
I was still impressed
To be
you got
fair, I
rid of.
don't
You
actually
finally
think I
let
really
go.
did talk about Vera. That I just mentioned. I watched it. I didn't.
Yeah, I know, but it's in the kind of same ilk as Brett
yeah,
talking
it's-
about, Jump Street. It's like, okay,
It's a cop night
what's
show.
next? Open all hours. What else are we watching? I watched the Antiques Roadshow on Sunday.
Right, well, on that note, let's
Antiques Roadshow.
let's discuss
BBC
Antiques
Sunday
Roadshow.
night, 8 p.m.
What was your favourite episode from 1980 something or another? No, Mr. Summers. So you're back teaching.
Yeah, back in school. I've been introduced
Ooh.
to a new anime show. It's not new, but it's new to me. It's slowly taken over my tutor group.
Okay.
And it's called
Some virus,
You
is
talk
it?
about it, and I'll just shut off and pretend, and I'll come back in.
It's called My Hero Academia, and
Is it about school? Is that why you're
it
promoting
is a
it?
little bit about school. It's like in a world where
In a world.
no, no, no. And it's like this world where like everyone started getting born with superpowers and stuff, and we've got this one little, but we've got this one little green-haired kid who hasn't got superpowers.
A green-haired kid.
Yeah, it's just anime.
Is it like Dean Stockwell
It may be.
Oh, let's
Dean
not start
Stockwell.
that conversation again.
in The Boy Whose Hair Turned Green from 1941?
Yeah, so I'll give you the.
No, not as. Well, no, it might have been.
In a,
No.
wo- in a world where most of the population is gifted with special powers known as quirks.
Hang on, no. Before you go any further, we talked about something that sounds very similar to this, but it was a self-aware girl in a world where
world.
yeah, where
Everything's in a
superhero,
world.
where all superheroes are normal or some nonsense like that.
It's not an original storyline,
No.
is it?
Well, to be fair, this may have been. 'Cause I think the manga was like years old. Now it's been made into a cartoon, but it's sweeping the kids by storm. We've got backpacks and everything now. So like, say you've got to watch it, and I was like, "What's it on?" And it's on Netflix, and I've watched the first 3 episodes. And as I say,
What's it called?
My Hero Academia, and it's in a world where most of the population is gifted with special powers known as quirks. And Azuka Midoriya is a young boy who always dreamed of being a hero, despite not having a quirk himself.
He's got green hair, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but most of it's anime. Everyone's got different coloured.
okay.
Until one day he's attacked by a villain made of sludge and is rescued by none other than All Might, the most famous hero ever, and his idol since childhood. And they kind of, this big adventure begins. And
Does he turn into a sidekick?
not really. There's a lot more. I don't want to give because it is.
Does he get any superpowers in the end?
I believe that's happening. I haven't got there yet,
Right.
but there is like, but I think it's because it's the anime thing, and they actually take the time to write them and think it out, rather than some sort of like American cartoons where they just bang out 50 episodes that don't need to be watched in order. It is actually well written, and I can see why the kids are getting into it, because they're all sort of, the characters are very good. There's some real. I'd like to know the original sort of Japanese version, because obviously it's dubbed into English, and like one of the characters is called like Dead Arms, and there's someone else. They're just some random names, which like I can see some guy sat in a studio and they're like, "What is it? What's it translate as?" We'll just call him that.
Yeah.
It's a bit like. Matey getting drunk watching the Magic Roundabout when he done all the voiceovers, and he ended up making up the story. So, but if you watch him in order, by the end he's hammered. If you watch the original Magic Roundabout in order, Emma Thompson's dad, I've forgotten his name now, but
Mr.
Mr. Thompson, Daly, and but it is well written. It is a little bit being anime. It is a little bit and if you do have epilepsy, be careful. Because sometimes there is a little bit, it goes a bit quick and all that, and you're like, what just happened? But you kind of get used to the style of it. Yeah, it's worth a watch, though, and I can see why they're into it, and I've accepted their challenge. They were just happy today when I mentioned that they asked me how my weekend was, and I said I was still waiting for my quirks to kick in. And they're like, you've watched it, he knows what we're talking about.
And then you gave one of the kids a dead arm.
Yeah. That's a special boot. No, that did not happen. But yeah, My Hero Academia. It's
Is that going to be on your watch list, Damien?
Absolutely not.
it might hypnotise the children to sleep because it's just bright colour and like. But yeah, no, it really is worth a while. The story is really clever. It's just the anime. It's the whole. That's always been my problem with anime. Death Note was really good. I could watch all of that, and that was a brilliant story. And I think you'd like that one if you actually sat and watched it without moaning. But
yeah, that's not going to happen.
But some of the others, it is very much 100 miles an hour. Just like bright colours and epileptic seizures. But yeah, no, that was all right. Is recommended if you've got kids who are into that stuff. It's all on on Amazon. You got to buy the series, but on Netflix it's free. So get onto the Netflix. The other show that I have been watching, and it's just arrived on Disney Plus in the UK, is, I've got to get this right because there's two different shows now. American Horror Stories.
Okay.
Yeah, so we talked about this.
Yeah, I think we watched a bit of the trailer a little while ago. Yeah, and then part one or episode one is a two-parter, and it's the Rubber Woman part one with the WO bits in brackets. So it's like Rubber Woman, but the WO, and it goes back to the original American Horror Story, back to the murder house. Do you remember when American Horror Story was good and we liked it, and it was in the murder house before it all got overly contrived and just became like The Purge or whatever else was trendy at that time?
To be fair, I stopped watching. I didn't bother with the mental hospital one just because it was. I know, and everyone says it's really good, but it was just, for me, it was like it just all seemed to be about mutilation with no real story to it. But to be fair, I only probably got about 4 episodes in before I was like, it's just too much like Hostel, and there's nothing wrong with it. As in, I got nothing against films like that, and I've watched Hostel, but it just felt like it was doing that for the sake of doing it, so I stopped. I watched the Witches one. I don't remember what number that was.
Yeah, then it was Freak Show, I think, wasn't it? And then it was the Freak one, which was basically Freaks.
Yeah,
but
I did watch that as well. I think maybe it's but I certainly didn't. I didn't watch the hotel one.
Well, the hotel one was basically murder house in a hotel with Lady Gaga and different outfits. She was good in it, but it was, it's kind of like you've done there, and then it all went a bit weird. But yeah,
back to the.
But these are tales. From what I'm gathering so far, these are tales set within the American Horror Story world, and they can go back and look at different things. Or I guess these. I think it's more an anthology show, and these bits all sort of slot in. But the first one's a two-parter, and only part one is on Disney Plus, bizarrely. And
it's on Stars though, isn't it? Stars?
No, it's on. It's just like, I don't know. Just as we've got it, and they've got The Walking Dead as well. But
yeah, so that's not that. But because Star is part of your Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah.
But I don't. So
they just when it came out, it just come out. Yeah, it might be under that. Yeah, you're probably right.
Your HBO.
I don't imagine that's going to be sitting next to Bambi.
Exactly.
And so in this one we meet two gay fathers, Michael and Troy, played by Matt Bomer and Gavin Creel, and they've got a daughter called Scarlett Winslow, who's played by Sierra McCormick, and of course they've bought the murder house, and their job is, what they do is they buy a house, fix it all up, and then flip it on for a profit. And of course the murder house is famous, blah blah blah, and Scarlett's excited because she's going to be at the murder house, and then she gets to school. It's a bit weird. She's kind of normal. They kind of lure you in with the normal teen drama thing where she doesn't quite fit in. Her mate's a bit of a geek who doesn't fit in with the cool kids, but she could be a cool kid. Blah, 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 blah. And she ends up, there's this girl called Maya, played by Paris Jackson. Spent the whole episode trying to work out where I knew her from, and it's Michael Jackson's daughter. And, but yeah, and then basically the girls in, Scarlett's got some bad habits. Apparently, you see a bit where her parents sit her down because she's apparently looking at really disturbing, hardcore pornography on the internet that shouldn't be looked at by a kid. And they have like a thing about it. And then later on, as she moves in, she's like going through the cupboard and she finds the now famous rubber suit from the American Horror Story, like from the first ones. And she tries it on a bit and she's all like, oh, I like this. And then she sort of shudders and takes it off and she's freaked out. And then as it goes along, she gets invited to a sleepover at Maya's house, I think it is, with all their friends, the other sort of, the bitchy girls. And she fancies Maya because she's a not out at school lesbian, as she's described. And apparently Maya might be as well. and they have a little bit of a thing where they're sat on the bed, and
How old are they?
I'm guessing they're supposed to be teenagers, but they're all probably like 30 in real life.
Right. Okay.
You know, it's American TV.
Yeah. No, I wasn't sure when you said the daughter. I wasn't sure like how old.
Yeah,
Like
so it's
or...
like secondary, junior high or
Right.
high school, whatever it is. But yeah, basically the whole thing is spoilers. They've set Scarlett up. Maya's took to the bedroom and sort of kissed her and got her to undress a bit, and then sort of asked her what turns her on, and she's saying, "Oh, you don't want to know what turns me on." She's going, "No, I'm probably into it as well." And she starts telling her all this. She likes like strangling and real proper extreme stuff. And then her phone's beeping as she's saying it, and she's ignoring the phone because she's talking to a girl, and it's nerdy friend going, "They're live streaming you. You're being set up." And there's like a phone in the corner, so everything she said is gone to everyone. And Scarlett doesn't like that, and
Does she go carry on their ass?
let's just say the old the rubber suit comes back into play, and I'll leave it there. But there's still a part 2 yet, so I don't know the rest what happens. But it hasn't gone well for the bitchy girls. Let's say that. But yeah, really good. It was nice to see American Horror Story taking some risks again and actually having some teeth. You know, because I think it has just moved away from whatever made it good to start with, and they've just kind of, it's almost become a bit self-indulgent and trying out different things. That Roanoke one was trying to be clever, where it was, did anyone see that one? That was the one where it starts off, it's like a haunted house in like the deep south somewhere, and then halfway through the series, spoilers, still listening? Okay. Halfway through the series, you realise the people what you're watching are the actors reenacting what happened to the real people, and then some of the real people are still alive, and then it goes a bit meta and crossing that, but it wasn't as clever. Kathy Burke is brilliant in it, but not Kathy Burke. Kathy Burke would have been brilliant in it because she could play anything in the world. She could play Jaws and be awesome. What's her name? Kathy Bates? Misery.
Yeah.
No, Kathy Bates. Yeah.
Yeah, Misery. Yeah, Kathy Bates. She's amazing in it, and there are some good bits in it, but it was just a bit like, you know, when you're trying to be too clever now.
I don't even think I even saw trailers or adverts for that.
No, because all it was, they advertised it and said, this season you'll never guess what's going to happen. And I was 1.5 episodes in, and they were like, I'll just guess what's going to happen. And it was like, yeah, but it was kind of, it was all done like it was like the reality show and all that, you know, that sort of thing. And it was, you know, it was a good attempt at trying to do something different, but they try and be too clever sometimes, and it doesn't quite work. But this is like the American Horror Stories so far. Again, it's only the first episode we've got over here. I think they're about 3 or 4 in America, or probably even done the series now. But it's got its teeth back. It's pushing a few boundaries. It is a bit disturbing at times.
But that's what you want.
And that's what I want, yeah. And that's why I'm liking this. So I mean, I'm sticking with this at the moment. I know it's part 2 of Rubber Woman next week, and then I think it goes to another bit. So I mean, it might nosedive after that, depending on where they dive into. But I'm interested to see where it is, and it's done really well so far. And it's got that vibe as well, like the original did as well. It feels like you're sort of, when it first came out, it felt like you're watching something a bit different. And this does as well again, rather than just, what are they going to do this time? You know, it's just...
Yeah.
And the other thing I watched was your fave. It's just gone out my head now. Video game.
Silent Witness.
This Mythic Quest.
Mythic Quest, yeah, because you went on about it for ages, so I thought I'd better watch it. So I signed up for a free trial on Apple TV and gave that a go. And I'm about 3 or 4 episodes in. Yeah, it's all right, then. I'm enjoying it. It's a bit fun. So if I've watched that now, have you watched Dead Pixels yet on Channel 4?
No.
I throw it back to you. Similar premise of the show, but you've got the people playing the game.
Okay.
And they get obsessed with it really badly. It's more of a comedy and a little bit ruder.
Okay.
But there you go. I've picked up your gauntlet, worn it, and throw you the other. And so Dead Pixels on Channel 4 or 4OD or whatever it is nowadays. But yeah, no, it's good comedy, good thing, and probably a little bit of a good insight into sort of what goes on behind the scenes. And I quite like Danny Pudi's character, who just has to monetize everything, and I think that just shows what mugs people are nowadays. Really, sorry, folks, but we must have that. We need that. We need the extra hat. He's got to have a different sword, and Fortnite are just milking that at the moment. As I say, there's this new thing that launched this week. I know it's got something to do with fish or something, and they're all glued to the YouTube. As soon as it's break time, they're all running back to watch YouTube to see if they've released another video about it. It's just like, I know, I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, well, go outside. It's actually sunny. No, because I don't know, PewDiePie might say something, or
how times have changed.
Yeah,
Breck trying to convince the kids to go outside.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I haven't really had much time to watch much at the moment this week. Oh, and I've been watching some of the old. If you go on, sorry, I've just remembered. Shut up. I just remember, if you go on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel, they have been dropping loads of the old original 1980s Transformers cartoons on there. And I think series 2 and 3 drop this week, and season 4 drops next week, because they're all building up, because it's the Transformers, the movie, the original cartoon movie. It's like the 35th anniversary. And it's going to be come back out of the cinema in America. So they're sort of releasing all the old TV episodes to sort of build that up and promote it.
I thought that came out in 84.
It was 84, wasn't it? No,
Yeah.
86.
I thought it was 84.
No, that'd be the same as Ghostbusters. It was after that.
Ghostbusters was like 83, 84.
No, 84.
Well, all right.
You're,
Jesus.
You're fired.
Good.
Cool, Damien.
We spent
Right,
enough
Damien, what you been
fucking time
watching?
Talking about DC comics and
You started that. Yeah, 1986. Just checked. Over to you. What have you been watching?
not a lot, because I spent most of my free time editing last week's podcast. So trying to get
So, what have you been
our
listening
sound
to?
issues sorted out. So bizarrely, and this feels very much like a 21 Jump Street conversation,
Yes.
but I've really got it back into Midnight Caller on Forces TV.
Yay.
In fact, to the point where I actually look forward to it at 11 o'clock every night, which is... it's a bit of a concern, to be fair, because actually nothing really happens in any episode. Like, 2 come to mind, and I've literally probably watched it every night this week so far, and most of last week. But,
The same episode.
yeah, it does kind of feel like the same episode. There's one episode that springs to mind where Jack has to go to the bank to cash a check, which kind of shows its age. But I'm going to use your phrase here. Lo and behold, he's in the bank, and there's a robbery takes place, and of course, Jack, being Jack, manages to negotiate things, but it still goes a bit awry at the end. And one from last night. He was invited to interview a guy on death row, the first execution to be carried out in California in 30 odd years or something or another.
Oh, that rings a bell.
And all the way you're watching it, you're thinking something's going to happen here, because this guy is kind of saying, "Am I innocent? I am innocent." It was all a bit. He's playing sort of mind games.
Was it anyone we recognised?
No, I did look him up. It's just one of those that's been in things, not necessarily
Journeyman.
anyone particularly famous. Yeah, journeyman. But nothing really happens. He interviews him. Jack pulls a lot of faces and his usual kind of stuff that he does. But you never really know whether he did it or not. He ends up being executed. So I'm going to try and wean myself off Midnight Caller over the next week, because it's...
You can't be
I hate
many
to
left
say
now.
it.
How far have you got on to
This is
it?
only season 1.
Oh, has it gone back? Or
I think
maybe...
they've gone back, yeah. But either way, and it does pain me to say it, but I just don't necessarily think it's as good as we remember it being.
But again, we used to watch it once a week. Now it's on every night. You know, it's that
Yeah,
sort of...
maybe. And I mean, and also, obviously, times have changed. So they're social things that are going on at the time in 80s or early 90s America. And we've moved on, obviously.
Yeah.
So, this is obviously a point about capital punishment and blah, blah, blah.
There was a big AIDS one from memory. I remember there being
no
one
doubt.
about AIDS and someone having AIDS and they didn't want to know him, and Jack helped.
Because this bank robbery one, as the story unfolds, all 3 of the guys that are pulling the bank job were in Vietnam, and basically they've been forgotten by their country and their
Forgotten
destitute,
sons.
blah blah blah. And I remember from the 80s, pretty much most films and TV shows.
Yeah,
always have.
everyone had a Vietnam guy
Yeah,
in
exactly.
somewhere, or they were the person. Yeah,
Exactly. I remember it's in House actually, the film House, where
Yeah.
Roger Cobb is writing his new book, and it's like he's doing a signing, and it's like, what's your new book going to be about? Oh, it's my experience in Vietnam, and they're like, oh, we want another horror story. It's
Yeah.
like everyone's doing their Vietnam story. Anyway, so that's Midnight Cooler. I for some reason again I've picked up on The Walking Dead. It literally, as Magnus Magnuson used to say, I've started, so I'm going to finish. I know it ends this year or next year, whatever season is the next one.
Don't forget the movies.
Yeah, I might not bother with them. But as I say, I've started, so I'll finish. But I think the episodes I'm watching at the moment were the ones that were filmed last year during lockdown or sort of just pre-lockdown or whatever.
Hey,
So-
there's a zombie over there, and it cuts over there.
almost, it's like they're episodes
Sniper
where you've got,
rifles.
what's his name? You got Carol and the guy with the hair. What's his name?
Daryl.
Daryl. It is Carol.
Daryl Dixon. Yeah, Carol and Daryl.
Yeah, that's what it just didn't
Yeah.
sound right when I was saying it.
And it,
So it's
was he
like-
loading up his crossbow like in slow motion?
Yeah, it was-
with his
it's all-
biceps bulging towards
It's
the
all
camera.
very plodding and like two characters per episode. So I think it's the stuff that was shot in lockdown. One I watched last night was Negan's backstory, which is interesting, but
I hadn't even got that far. Rick was still in it when I stopped watching.
yeah. I mean, I stopped watching, then we picked it up, then we stopped, then we picked it up, and
It all got to Negan and the compound and all that, and they just, to me, it just lost momentum. It was just kind of, well, hurry up. And then they caught Negan, and then they didn't do anything with him. And it's
Yeah.
like, right, so you murdered all your mates, but he's okay.
yeah,
And then
they can.
it was like, well, actually, Negan might be alright. You know,
well,
and
they
it was
want to
just
keep him
like,
in it, don't they? Because it's
yeah, and it was
user
like, well, he
polls and
was
all
a
that
cool
malarkey,
character,
yeah,
wasn't he? It was
exactly.
just
So
like,
they don't want to lose that character, and
he was
that's
a great
still
actor
dragging
as
on.
well. So it's,
So, but yeah, I'm going to finish it because, like I say, started, so I'll finish. But I wouldn't recommend it.
but I remember, I think it's about season 3 or 4, the pre-Negan one. I had them all recorded, and I waited till like a half term and like just burned through them. That was when I was like still really into it, and it just got to a point where I started recognising all the zombies.
Yeah,
And there's one episode, there's a woman zombie, and they put like a hat on her and one, and she's got a t-shirt. But you're watching like the same woman get killed, and she dies 3 times in the same episode. And I'm like, I've watched this too much.
yeah. Well, over the last couple of days, we watched a couple of them on fast forward because it's like you can kind of tell this
Oh, yeah.
episode isn't going to further the plot in any way. It's introspective of the character. So we've literally just kind of like jumped 40 seconds, 30 seconds,
Oh, I used to do that.
and then jumped again and jumped.
Talk
just
a
keep doing
bit,
it.
speed them up walking up the train track,
Yeah, exactly.
play it a bit when they talk, speed them walking up the train track.
But I'm guessing that if it's going to come to an end, as they say for the next season, something interesting is going to happen. Because
You
there's
hope
some sort
so.
of republic. There's a town or something or a city they come across, isn't there?
Have you got to the Whisperers yet?
Yeah, it's way past this. This
Oh,
is
so
the
you're
episode.
way
This
ahead
is
of
the
me.
season after the Whisperers, but before the Republic. That's it, the Republic. So and I think that's the last season. So, yeah,
Cool.
keep watching that until that
wow.
finishes. And the only other new thing I've watched, and it's on Disney Plus or Star, whatever it's called. I know we have this conversation pretty much every other week. Is it Stars or Star? I think it's Star, isn't it? The Disney one.
I think so.
Yeah. Either way, it's Only Murders in the Building, which we talked about in the news a few months back. It's
Yeah.
Steve Martin, Martin Short, and
Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez. Thank you. And it's another one that's dropping every week, so it's really difficult to say if it's actually any good or not. I've watched 2 episodes. Premise is you've got 3 people that live in a kind of prestigious apartment building in New York. I'm assuming it's New York. It's got to be where someone's been murdered, and they don't know each other at the start of it, but they discover that they're all fans of a particular podcast about true crime and stuff like that. So they get together. Then someone gets murdered, and they take it upon themselves to
Keep listening,
investigate what's
people.
going on. Say again.
Listen in before we murder you all. No.
But I wouldn't say it's great. It's a kind of subtle comedy as opposed to laugh out loud or funny silly humour or anything like that. It's just, but both Steve Martin and Martin Short are playing the characters you would expect them to play at their age. Martin Short is a kind of washed up theatre director who was once the talk of the town, who's now pretty much on his uppers. And Steve Martin is playing an out of work actor who basically played a kind of Columbo character in the 60s or probably 70s. and just hasn't really done a lot of work since, but still lives off that character.
Do they then start up a film with Selena Gomez where they go off and solve crimes?
No, they set up a podcast.
No, it was a joke in the program. It was
No, but I mean, you're not far off from the ridiculous premise that this show is. They decide that they're going to start their own podcast off the back of this person that's been murdered. Not off the back of, but because the police aren't investigating it, they're saying it's suicide or something. But it seems Selena Gomez's character knows more about what's going on than she's letting on. So
It's just got a second series as well.
is it really? I say it's not. It's
That
not
was
bad,
announced. I
it's
think that
just
was
not
announced
great
today.
either.
I nearly put that on the thing, but I thought we got too much on there already. But that fits
Fair
in
enough.
nicely.
Yeah, and that's it.
And and that's on Stars or Disney Plus.
Let's just say it's Disney
Okay.
Plus.
I might
So
give
the-
that a look.
Yeah, there's about 4 episodes that have dropped on there at the moment, but I've only
So
watched 2,
street.
maybe 3. But it isn't laugh out loud. It's not something you're going to go out your way to watch. I probably won't now pick it back up again until I know it's finished its run, so that
you
Yes,
just
not-
Just get to the end, like
yeah, exactly. And that's it. That is my televisual delights for this week. It's a bit sad, really, but
we all have those weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
News desk. News items. News items.
Okay, time for the news, clearly, as that's what the jingle means. First up in the news, we have got Netflix debuts teaser trailer and poster for Lock and Key Season 2. Are we excited?
I love season 1. Season 1 was amazing. I've been waiting for this for ages. My only worry about it is it seems like it's been too long, and I just don't want it to be like like the small child's 28 now, and still pretending to be a small child. 'Cause it feels like it's been that long since season 1.
Oh, I thought you meant, like me, you just forget everything that happened in the season, so you want to make sure there's a good recap.
Unfortunately, I'm
You
unable
got
to
that.
forget things.
Yeah, identikit, not identikit memory, what's it called?
Identifit.
Could be.
Quick fit.
Can't get better than a quick fit fitter.
We're the boys to trust.
Dun, dun.
Right, anyway, so let's have a look at the trailer and then we'll come back. So then, what do we think of that?
Well, I only watched the first episode of season 1.
Oh, you need to get back on that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to.
I don't know why. Maybe something else kicked off at the same
I mean,
time.
I've got to be honest, I don't actually remember much of it.
Well, it's probably
I
2 or
watched
3
for,
years
for a
ago
split second
now.
there watching that trailer, I was like, oh god, they're flying. Oh no, I remember there was a flying ghosty type thing. So actually,
No, I didn't get that far. I remember them going through a mirror,
Yeah, and the keys.
and the mum got locked in there or whatever, and they had to go and save her. But that was it. I might go and revisit.
is it the one with the woman down the well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, February the 7th, 2020. It just seems so much. Mind you, a lot's happened in the world since then,
Yeah.
hasn't it? So it's. But yeah, I mean, season 1 to me was done brilliantly. I'll try not to give too much away because obviously Paul hasn't seen it yet, and other people might. Now that there's a season 2, might want to go back and watch season 1 or rewatch it.
How many
But-
episodes in season 1 roughly?
There were.
About 8 or 9, 10.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
not a. It's not a.
Give me a week. I'm sure.
They don't. They didn't overkill it.
That's fine.
I'll-
I don't
I'll
need to know.
double check.
I don't need to know the right number. It's fine. 8 or 9's fine.
I've clicked on it now.
He's done it now. He's there. It's Dr. Googling it.
10.
10.
Oh,
I did 8, 9, 10. I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't stop at
Damien.
8. I didn't stop at 9. I got to 10.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's good.
it done well. It had what I liked about it as well is it had a few almost double bluffs in it that you kind of thought that was, and then that did happen, but then something else happened on top of that that you weren't even thinking of. Very, very sleight of handwriting, which I think was what made it for me more enjoyable because a lot of these shows sometimes you watch it and you're like, yeah, that's going to happen, and then it does, and you're like, oh, it was alright. But sometimes it's nice to get smashed over the head with something, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, just like Hill House did, yeah, because this came out just after The Haunting of Hill House, I think, and it was sort of for me it was like 2 hits in a row from Netflix, and then they didn't do much after that. But
Yeah, I remember it being good. Like, I mean, I've said it so many times. I don't remember shit. So, I know I watched it. I enjoyed it. It was good, and I'm gonna watch this season. I'm just hoping that they have a decent sort of 10-minute recap not 10-minute, but you know what I mean. A decent long recap that tells you what happened in season 1. Otherwise, I'm going to be...
Previously on Lock and Key.
Yeah, exactly. They did it without a Banks, which was really helpful. So hopefully they do it with this.
So that's
Have
a
we got-
thumbs up.
Big thumbs up for me. Very excited.
Cool.
It's actually a show I want to watch as well that I've been waiting for. That feels like years. But
Yeah, it's only been 18 months or so.
yeah, that's really weird. But like I say, a lot's happened in the world. So
Indeed it has. Okay, well let's go on to that then. In that case then, there we go.
Now that then.
Now. So, Dune Desert Visions featurette. I can't help thinking they're pumping a load of shite out because they haven't got that much confidence in this. I don't know.
the problem with Dune that has always been from the book form to the original movie, the other movie that didn't get made. I can't remember the director's name now.
Yeah.
There's a documentary about that.
I want to say Demodowski or something.
Yeah, that dude. Is that Dune?
The one that spent $1 million writing the screenplay, basically.
That's
At
it,
least.
and then-
Yeah.
But the original Dune is not the most accessible of properties to begin with. I mean, even I've been trying to get through the audiobook for about the last year, and the audiobook's like 22 hours or something, and there's a lot in there. And the way it's written brilliantly, but it's written almost in like a biblical way, where you get like the stories, and there's like a little reading from the book of so and so in the middle, you know, like from their religions and things, and then you get another bit of story, and then there's a bit from the prophecies of so and so in the. You know,
I mean,
it's
Frank
all,
Herbert was basically trying to build up a whole society.
well, he did. He built up a whole
based on
society, yeah. But
and you're right, because of that, it's hard to cram into a 2-hour film.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's always. I mean, again, I think we took this before. When the original film came out, the David Lynch one, there was like you got a glossary booklet on your chairs in the cinema to understand what they were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if how much of that they've changed or whatever. I mean, it's a good thing, but it is a massive chunk to try and get across. And in a way, I hope they sort of scaled it down, because I think they would need to make it more accessible. And maybe
From looking at the proper trailer, not that featurette, because I think that featurette's, as Damien said, just padding out until October 22nd with some shots of Zendaya, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but didn't really give you more about the film at all. The original trailer, though, with Batista in it and the big sandworm type things, and
they got worms.
that was impressive. And I
Yeah,
think you're
no,
right. I think I could be completely wrong, but I think they've made this an action film that references some of the book, but isn't delving or isn't worrying too much about the whole society and all that kind of stuff. Because they can't.
Well, that split the fan base thing.
Yeah, it might do, but it's going to make better at the box office.
Good.
Well, I think that is. I think you're right there, Paul. I think that is the. That's going to be the thing. If it's a box office success, that's not Dune, and it's ruined Dune.
Yeah.
If it hasn't, people just don't understand it, because if it flops, which is I'm kind of going that way at the moment. Even though I will go and watch it, don't get me wrong, but I think it might flop, and people go, well, that's because people are just stupid, don't understand it, and they didn't understand the book. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's the crossroads we're going to be at with this.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've talked about Dune quite a lot over the last couple of months. This is just, as I said, a featurette, as Paul said, to pad it out. Let's wait and see when it comes out on 22nd of October. It's pretty much a month away.
We're going to have a busy week. I
Yeah.
think.
On a field trip. So, here's one. Amazon is developing a live-action She-Ra TV series. Now, I'm assuming there's no clips or anything of this. This is
No. This was broke by Variety this week, and it is in early development with Amazon. DreamWorks Animation is also attached to executive produce the series. However, Variety's report notes that this will not be an adaptation of the last She-Ra cartoon, which they kind of sort of I don't know how you would describe it. They kind of Teen Titans it a little bit with a sprinkling of My Little Pony. And it was all like, it was just all the girls, and they were all having fun and stuff. I'm probably
Like
just
Cyndi Lauper or
offended,
something.
just offended everyone there. But it will be, to quote, a new standalone story that will not be connected to the animated show. Apparently, what was it? It said one element that seems likely to remain between the cartoon and the new series is the removal of He-Man from the backstory, which we do not like, unless they bring that in later on. And Amazon are looking now to attach a writer to the product. But again,
So basically, this is Wonder Woman with a sword.
yeah, it's basically, yeah, you're under right. This is again, we're going to buy a property, develop it, and then change everything about it.
Yeah, because
to
they
what
said that
people
Wonder Woman
like.
did well at the box office.
First
So
one.
yeah. So let's get another strong female protagonist. We'll ditch the He-Man because he's a man, bad man. And
Yeah, man, bad.
yeah, okay. Well, I'm assuming we don't know who's lined up to play her.
Oh,
anything,
no,
but
it's
still
early
early days,
development
yeah.
at the moment. Yeah, I mean that could be the next thing. But again,
Gail Ghetto.
again, to me, it's always a disrespect to the original franchise when someone buys it and then just changes everything about it. Create your own thing. Call it something different. Don't piggyback it on a brand name just to make a few quid and then not even do anything to do with that brand.
Sounds a bit chowder-heady to me. But
Like just anything, any film thing into a book in particular, they buy it and they go, "Oh, we want to make this into a movie, but we're going to take this out, this out, this out, this out, and we're going to take that character out and turn him into this." And it's like,
well, to be fair, it worked for Die Hard.
what was? Oh, tell me more.
Well, the guy that wrote Die Hard sold the rights to the script to, I don't know, whichever film studio it was. I couldn't tell you what it was now, and they pretty much changed everything.
Actually, that's pretty much like any film
Yeah.
out there, like The Running Man, based on the Batman books. It's nothing like the Batman book.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And you just said the same about Dune, is that we want to take him.
Well, that's my point. That's what I'm saying. That's where it's going to be the split. But if they're doing it consciously, it's fine. But these people they're not. He's trying to make Dune accessible in some way, whereas these guys are just buying a franchise name and then just using that to make cash, but they're not actually that worried about the franchise itself. It's like, which is always going to be my worry when we finally get a Mask movie, because I'm going to end up hating it.
Of course we will. Be another
Shut up.
Transformers, so
Showderheads.
exactly.
Okay, what else we got?
We have got The Boys cast wraps up production on season 3, so something to look forward to.
Oh, definitely. I imagine that'll be a January drop again.
Can you
it's
imagine
normally-
the wrap-up party, though? That would be quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be some party.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that'll be about January time. There have been loads. If you go on to YouTube, there is a VoIP News Network sort of channel now, where sort of every sort of 4 or 5 weeks or so they put up like another little CNN sort of 3 or
I've seen
4
a few of
minute,
those.
just to keep. And they're quite entertaining, just to keep you busy in between. If you're worried or you're missing a bit of your boys' action and that, and they were fun. And there's been there was a Starlight music video as well, and A Train did a rap video as well. I think it was. They've had little
I've
bits
not
put
seen
up
those.
and that.
I've just seen the
I mean,
sort of news
they
clips
are what
stuff.
they are, but the news clips are the best bits really. But yeah, really looking forward to that, and that can't come sooner enough really. I'm just glad it's not on October the 27th.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to do other things that day.
Okay. Finally in the news, John Birmingham's best-selling Axis of Time trilogy is in development.
Yeah, this apparently is a big deal.
I've-
I'll be honest.
No,
I know nothing of this.
pass me by.
But Spark Films have secured the television rights to the Axis of Time trilogy, the best-selling novels by John Birmingham. The epic drama television series, which was tentatively titled Weapons of Choice after the first book in the series, is in late development, and it looks like it's going to explore the far-reaching effects of time, war, and the human condition.
Is that ones where they come from the future into the World War II or something?
It says It's a historical sci-fi military techno-epic drama based on the axis of time.
I was going to say, Paul, I was going to throw over to you because it sounds like it's your kind of wheelhouse, to be fair.
Yeah.
Everything about what I read out sounds like it's your wheelhouse. So.
And it deals with a radical rip in the fabric of time when a technologically advanced naval task force from the near future is accidentally transported back through to 1942, landing in the middle of World War II. A military experiment in the... This sounds like the Philadelphia.
I was just going to exactly what I was about to say.
I'm actually excited now. A military experiment in the near future has thrust an American-led multinational armada back to 1942, right into the middle of the US... Their press releases aren't that clear. Right into the middle of the US naval task force, spreading towards the Midway Atoll, and thousands die in the chaos, but the changes in the space-time continuum have only just begun. So, have you read this one, Paul? Is this one of your...
Just rings a bell. No, I don't think I have read it. I think it must have popped up on Amazon Books or something as a suggested read, because it's probably listening to the podcast. But maybe I will read it as I need a new book after the one I finish.
Cool. Okay, well that's maybe something to look forward to. It does sound interesting.
It does sound good. It reminds... There was a book years ago that never made anything called Guns of the South, and it was similar thing, and it was like the American Civil War, and somehow they got their hands on AK-47s.
Yeah.
And it turned out it was like Nazis going through a time loop to fund the South to rise to make the world more not pleasant, shall we say. But, can't remember who wrote that now, though. But yeah, what else we got?
That's it. I've got no cancellations or renewals. There's loads of stuff that's been cancelled, but none of us would care one way or the other.
Fair enough.
Most of it's on Acorn TV, whatever that is.
Never heard of it.
I do know it's a Amazon add-on channel, but it seems to be aimed at people that read Women's Weekly, so not for us.
That acorn didn't grow.
Drop zone. Drop zone.
Okay, as I pour myself another whiskey, it's time to move over to the drop zone. And first up, we've got the audio adventures of Batman being released. The trailer for that we're about to watch. So, I can't wait. Okay, balls out honesty. It's not going to make me hurry to HBO Max in any way, shape or form.
But why are HBO Max doing this with their high... all the programs that they're banging out. I know it's Warner and they own all the characters, but is this the first strike in an attack on Audible and maybe the podcast world?
They've got a lot of catching up to do, if that's their intent. I kind of don't know why they haven't done it as a series and distributed it through the likes of Audible.
Yeah, because surely that would get more eyes back on HBO Max, maybe.
But maybe this is another way of getting people to subscribe. I don't know.
But I would have thought if you're, already into that, would you not already have it? I mean, I know we're in the content wars now, but it just seems such an odd choice for.
That's what I was going to ask. Is this new stuff or is it old?
I know. I believe these are all new, exciting tales, ready to, get you going. Get your bat on.
Get your bat on. Okay.
And I'm guessing, obviously, if this works, April, if this works, then maybe we'll get Superman. Maybe we'll probably get Harley Quinn.
But who's the audience for this?
And what is it? Does it say in the spiel that it's?
I will give you the
how is it available?
spiel.
Is what I'm getting at. Is it?
It just says on HBO Max. It doesn't.
So you have to sit in front of your TV and watch.
Listen.
Well, I
Well,
guess,
I mean, you've got to watch more or less a blank screen or just some...
Well, I guess, I imagine there's some sort of... I'm holding it in my hand with there's nothing being here. I imagine there's some sort of app. You can just play it like you would if you were listening to a...
So it's similar to
podcast
TV show or
yeah.
a podcast.
So like with the Sky app and the Virgin Media app.
Yeah, with the radio,
I guess
with
so,
the radio, yeah. And
Maybe
maybe
you just press play and you...
Yeah, so I think what you said, Paul, makes more sense.
Yeah.
License it out to Audible or just release them as kind of premium content that you can pay for via...
Or even nowadays, bang it out on a vinyl. People love a vinyl.
They do.
You know,
Well, but they might love a vinyl over here, but
I
No,
know.
it's
I
big
think there's
Is
a
it?
thing in America, especially if it was a limited edition with a sticker or something. They
With a
would probably
sticker.
fly. You know, 'cause,
picture disc.
yeah, I can see them flying out because collectors' items. It's the right market for that, isn't it?
Very much so. Yes.
I would be milking that cow a lot more than they are at the moment.
Yeah, it's a thumbs down for me on HBO Max. And yeah, I do. As I said, if it was on Audible, I might use it one of my free tokens to give it a listen
or something. Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
Audible,
it's a fair
they've
point.
got the actually because DC. Sorry, just thinking that now. DC own Vertigo, which is what the Sandman was on with Neil Gaiman.
And that's
And they
on
did a
Audible.
huge one on Audible, and it done massive numbers. Of Volume 2, I've already pre-ordered with one of my tokens. That comes out. What?
Bugbear of mine.
What?
Pre-order. You either order or you don't.
Well,
you
you
don't
pre-order
pre-order
it.
anything. You're ordering it. Where does pre-order come into it?
So you don't forget about it.
Because it's not out
you,
yet.
You're ordering it. It doesn't
well,
matter if
you-
it's out or not.
You can order something that's out, and then you get
I
it,
phone up an Indian restaurant and I order a takeaway.
and it gets
It
delivered.
hasn't been cooked yet, so I'm not pre-ordering that takeaway, am I? I am just ordering the
did you-
takeaway. The
but
man
did-
then goes off into the kitchen and he cooks it for me.
Did
I
you-
haven't pre-ordered it in the vain hope that he might make this curry for me.
But-
He's going to make the curry
But
for
you
me.
can pre-order on Just Eat.
Hashtag
You can say I want it
breakdown.
delivered tomorrow.
Still ordering it.
No, you pre-order.
No, you're ordering it. I don't care what you say. It's almost as bad as staycation. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
You're wrong though. But yeah, but like that's owned by them as well. But that's on Audible, and that has done massive numbers and made him a.
It's got Taron Egerton in it.
Yeah, and it's made him a fair few
Who's-
pounds.
Who's pretty much in most new UK Audible books.
He's got everyone in it at some
Yeah,
point.
no, but Taron Egerton's in a load. He was in that War of the Worlds thing that I listened to a few months ago that was rubbish. Not him. He was alright.
But,
We
yeah,
talked
just-
about it at the time.
But maybe is this the next step in the content was? Are we almost going backwards to go forwards now?
I think it's just. I was going to say a bit what we talked about a couple of weeks back, where it's just everyone's the land grab is kicking in, so there's platform after platform after platform
Yeah.
and video on demand service. I'm sure there's. I mean, I can only think now of Audible, to be fair, as a listening platform, but I'm sure there's others out there.
Probably them and Spotify, isn't it? Really, that would probably be
Yeah,
the two.
to be fair,
But
yeah.
Spotify trying to sign up for the exclusive podcast, aren't they? I mean, we keep knocking them back at the moment because the offer's not right. But it's 2 cows and a chicken. It was no, we need a bit more than that, mate. But
Throw in some grain in, we might
some-
listen.
some magic beans. but it's what would be good, just thinking out loud, if they went back and got all those old, and I know they're out there and they're probably in public domain anyway, but the really old, the Flash Gordons, the Buck Rogers, all those old sort of radio serials that have probably been long forgotten.
Yeah,
sat
you
in a
can
vault
get a lot of
somewhere.
those on.
They
in fact,
are
actually, a lot
around.
of them are on audio.
Like the Dashing Blade and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But they probably got them and they've let Audible have them. That's what makes me laugh. But then they'll push this. You don't
Well,
go in.
just wait for January when it's going to be coming soon to HBO Max. Groceries online. That's when we know they're really trying to
Yeah.
expand out.
Yeah, Megan Fox reads her shopping list this week on HBO Max.
I'd probably listen to that, to be fair.
Many times.
Right, on that note, we're going to move on to our next news item, which is a Hawkeye TV series.
I've got my own show.
Well, I'm disappointed to learn that it's got nothing to do with MASH, but I'm guessing is there something to watch, or is this?
Yeah, there's a trailer.
There's a trailer and everything.
Yeah.
Happy days.
One of my favourite Avengers.
Of course, it's Avengers, Hawkeye. Yeah. Okay. Over to the fanboys.
So it's Hawkeye meets Die Hard.
Pretty much. I mean, the main.
Is that the girl from Pitch Perfect 3?
I've not seen Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect fucking 3.
Well, I've got a wife and one teenage daughter and one 8-year-old. Of course, I've watched Pitch Perfect 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, I think she's the last sorority girl from Pitch Perfect 3.
Haley Steinfeld. that helps.
No, because I don't know her name. I just know her from Pitch Perfect 3.
It may be.
Probably is. Looked like her.
Well, let's not dwell on that fact for
But
too
the
long.
whole sorry, that's just thrown me. Of all the things I thought you would have said.
Well, it's relevant, to be fair.
Oh no, it is relevant. I just wasn't.
And I didn't need to IMDb it.
It wasn't even the Pitch Perfect. It wasn't even Pitch Perfect or Pitch Perfect 2.
She's not in Pitch
3.
Perfect 1 or 2. She's in Pitch Perfect 3, which
And
is
the
why I
fact
said
that
it.
you know that is what makes me laugh.
Because I've
Oh.
seen films. I'm not
know.
restricted to one genre or anime.
Oh, right. I watch many films. That's the first anime I watched in years. Right, yes. Basically, before going back to the old Avengers, Thanos clicked his fingers and half the universe got wiped out. That was all of Hawkeye's family. So he spent those 5 or 6 years in between. He became known as Ronin and went on just basically murdering and butchering people from the underworld. And then, of course, the Avengers reassembled and got everyone back. And now it looks like it's, it's post-blip, as they call it. He's living his life in New York City. But of
At
course,
Christmas. Let's not forget that.
Christmas, But, he's, in the meantime, he has made a lot of enemies. He's killed a lot of top gangsters. He's made a lot of things, so...
But he's still a nice guy from looking at that trailer.
I don't know, but he's still there. But obviously, they're not happy. But now, when he didn't have a family, all he was worried about was himself. But of course, his wife and his kids are all come back now. So it's like, he's got people that can have revenge taken out upon them. And he's not, and I think that's the issue. So he shipped them off, and he's got this Kate Bishop, played by the girl from Pitch Perfect 3, and she sort of become his apprentice, and
It looks like they've really softened him down. Because I quite liked him when he was a bit edgy.
I think the edginess will come back. I think he's
I don't know.
I think
They
he's
put
going
him in a tuxedo. They're giving him comedy lines a lot. He's looking after the girl.
comedy lines in the film.
I know, but he's looking after the girl. It's Christmas time.
It
I
doesn't
think
look like she needs that much looking after, to be fair.
Well, I don't know. I think they've made this more wholesome, is what I want to say. Not just for the Christmas.
It did look like there was a swear they cut out. I mentioned in the series that would be there, but I think they're going for the Yeah, you're right. I obviously using that song as well. There's definitely a Die Hardy vibe, but no, I'm intrigued. Because again, another new, which I still think they're going to end up doing the Young Avengers. Because if you think about each sort of thing that they've done so far, there's always been like there's a daughter or a younger sidekick or a. I think that's where we might be going. Maybe not now, but in the next maybe 4 or 5 years.
Maybe.
And they're sort of, it's the next class coming through, like as all the others step down because they get older and don't want to
That'd be
do
quite
Marvel
cool
films
in
anymore.
some ways. I mean, Iron Man's kid
Exactly. I mean, you got the Iron Man, and you've also got
picks
that.
up.
You've also got
the
the
suit.
lad as well. I forget his name. Remember the young boy he helped?
Yeah,
helped him
that's
with the
right.
other
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
He was at the funeral. So you've got him. You've got Ant-Man's daughter, who's now a bit older because she come
Because
back.
of the blip.
You've got Wanda's kids, if they ever return. We've got Kate Bishop now. Yeah, in the comic, I haven't seen a dog though. In the comic, he has a dog as well. And there was a bit of a joke where like someone was going to hurt the dog, and he went, "You've seen that film, haven't you?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And he doesn't do it. And it's just sort of it's a little bit more.
John Wick.
It was a little bit more the Hawkeye solo comic, which I think that's
I've
where the
stopped listening.
logo's from.
Oh, okay.
Like you're listening
I'm
to all
just
that
gonna
and
pull
you're
myself
listening to
out
all
of
that and
this.
taking notes. But the Hawkeye solo comic, which is what that logo's from as well, which I'm guessing they're based on, was very much him. In the comic, he hasn't got a family. That's an MCU thing. But just him, it was like the Hawkeye day to day when he's not being a superhero, and kind of the stuff that comes up in that. And
Yeah.
that was actually a lot more interesting than him. It was like. It was one of them, like it was like the slum landlord in the tenant block, and he was helping them out, and they were getting extorted.
When's it actually out?
It is out.
Hopefully Christmas time. And
I'd say by the trailer it's around Christmas.
Yeah, it starts on November the 24th,
Perfect Christmas viewing to get you
and it
into the
also
spirit.
stars Vero Farmiga, I think that was that, which is the from The Conjuring and all that, and Bates Motel. She's the mum.
Okay.
Free, Tony Dalton, Zach McLaren, Brian Darcy Jones, and Alequa Cox. I think I've said that as Maya Lopez. But looks good. I'm excited. Looks interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thumbs up for me. With some caveats.
David?
Nah, you're alright. I'll just steer clear, like I normally do.
Did you watch the thingy that I told you to watch on Disney Plus?
The what?
The Trevor Slattery short. Did you watch that at all?
What, the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way where I could edit that and I couldn't, so
Yeah,
I left
right.
it in. No, I didn't.
It's only got 5 minutes.
Where would I find this?
Disney Plus.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. I have to go out of my way to find it.
All Hail the King.
But
It's good.
no, because
I just want you to try that bit and then
well,
see
why have I
if
got
you-
it's like 3 minutes of something where it's not really going to make any
Well,
sense to me
my-
because I've not seen it hardly
No,
any
you-
of the Avenger.
It's the wonders of Ben Kingsley. No, he's almost as
I
good as
could
that
watch
as he was
Gandhi
in.
or something if I want to see the wonders of Ben
No, that
Kingsley.
one is boring.
Right, let's move on.
Yeah, please do. Oh, it's me, isn't it? So next up in the drop zone, we've got Witch Hunt. Let's have a look at the trailer for this.
I've got spiel.
Is there a spill?
Witch Hunt is set in modern America where magic is real and witches are persecuted by US authorities. Teenagers Claire and her family are part of an intricate network that helps these women escape across the borders to seek asylum in Mexico. However, when their mode of transport is disrupted by federal witch hunters, trouble befalls the family as they struggle to hide 2 young witches within the walls of their home. As witch hunters close in and strange magic begins haunting the family, Claire discovers that she may have more in common with these witches than she could have ever imagined.
Ooh.
Wonder what that is.
Is this a film or a series? What
It's
is
a
it?
film.
Okay,
Directed and written by Ellie Callahan.
just because they said it's a cross between something and Handmaid's Tale, which I kind of found a bit weird, because Handmaid's Tale is obviously about women being forced into basically prostitution, which I didn't get from that.
No, but I think it's about the subjugation. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the persecution and the
Persecution
hunting and so
of-
yeah,
of women.
subjugation and
Yeah.
persecution. Yeah. I like the fact they have to escape to Mexico. That's quite funny because normally everyone's escaping the other way, so
This is true.
that's quite nice. But it just to me it looked like the Dawson's Creek version
Yeah.
of Motherland Fort Salem.
Well, I've
Which
not
is a
watched
show we've
Motherland.
looked at, but that's a little
But-
bit more where the witches are almost like an armed force. They're like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
extremely armed force, and it's sort of it's a bit more. Just seems a bit
To be
more
fair, it didn't
hardcore
hold
than-
my attention that much until the final 10 seconds or so when it ramped up and there was some scary faces, but I'm not going to have my way for this one.
No.
No, it's
If it pops up on Amazon and I
It's
haven't got
one
to pay
of
for it, I
those-
watch it.
there's an idea in there. Is it been?
I just don't think we need it, do we? I mean, there's been so many, even over the last 5 years, witch films or reincarnations of witch films.
Charm's being remade as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Of Sabrina recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which was a bit darker as well, which was quite cool.
and none of them have ever come close to Teen Witch.
And you had The Craft re-released, well, remade. I don't know. It's not.
No, it's a
Bit of a
sequel, isn't
knee.
it? The Craft is a sequel, isn't it? I haven't seen it yet, but apparently some of the original ones are in it.
Doesn't
That's
feel.
older.
Doesn't again. It's one of those ones. It doesn't feel like a sequel. It feels more like a reboot.
But a couple of the older cast are in it, though, aren't they? Apparently.
Yeah, they make cameos. I think.
Oh, is that all it is?
I don't remember them, so there must be very small cameos.
Yeah, you remember Pitch Perfect 3.
Anyway, so Witch Hunt, it's not necessarily something out of our way to watch. It's a bit meh.
Yeah.
We'll see how that
it's
pans out.
like if it's on, it's on.
Almost looked to me like it's something that would probably make a better series than it does a film because there's more time to tell the story. But we shall see. So that takes us on to the old ways.
Now, that has been described as the greatest exorcism movie since The Exorcist, apparently.
Well, to be fair, it hasn't got a lot to live up to after. I mean, as in, that's not saying The Exorcist is bad. What I mean is any film after The Exorcist hasn't really been that good. So,
And it's, Christina a journalist of Mexican origin, travels to her ancestral home in Veracruz to investigate a story of sorcery and healing. There, she is kidnapped by a group of locals who claim she is the devil incarnated. That's it.
Hate it when I go on holiday and that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
And it's out everywhere in October.
It's available now.
Digital,
I
DVD,
I almost
Blu-ray.
bought it the other day, I thought.
Okay, well, it's not supposed. Maybe it's out in America then, and it's already available here. I don't know. From Christopher Allender. How are you going to say that? But yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's floating anyone's boat, to be honest. This looks like another.
It's one of those ones. If I'm scanning through it late one night, looking for something to watch, and it's on, I'll probably watch it. Will I be running to grab it and purchase it? Probably not.
Yeah, same.
Cool. In that case, let's move on to Ouija. Japan. Don't know why I said it like that, but I did.
Which always makes it sound like a sequel. Karen is an American housewife living in Japan who desperately wants to fit in with her Japanese community until peer pressure forces her to play the Kokoro-san, the Japanese Ouija, with the other housewives, unwittingly disrespecting a local deity who then sets them up to fight each other in a deadly game of Battle Royale. A mystery app gets installed on their phones to aid them into their battle. It offers the women tools to fight each other, which they buy with credits, but they better be careful with their spending. It hits Amazon Prime on October the 1st, as well as Blu-ray. It's available from Tokyo Shock Japan. How many different elements do you want to chuck into one film?
I was going to say that. It's the trailer, you look at the trailer and go, that's that film, that's that film, that's that film, that's that film. But to be fair, at least they've been honest about it and they put it in the film.
I was really disappointed because, I was hoping this was going to be a really decent horror film.
Yeah.
And we all know that, the East do brilliant horror films.
Yeah,
I had
there's very little Ouija in that.
Well, it doesn't even need a Ouija board. It could have been anything. But don't try and suck us in with the whole horror film and then give us a battle royale. And wasn't there a battle royale film from Korea or something?
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that kicked it off in the first place.
Yeah.
And Battle Royale 2.
But
The Search for More Money.
But that was like loads of people killing
it was a school
Yeah.
class every year, and the idea was that it kept behaviour and thing, and how outrageous I thought it was at the time.
And this is like a toned down version of like 10 under 10 of them.
Yeah, but these are housewives. I think the whole thing is it's a female-led horror action film.
I
think that's
don't know if
I think
that
the
putting
idea
the
for
word
the
horror in there, but
I think the big thing, I guess maybe it's for the culture, is it's all female led. It's all it's the.
yeah.
I think in
That's the
Japan
aim.
that's a selling point.
Yeah.
It's like, but for us, nah.
I did like the soundtrack.
Yeah, kicked in, and I like the idea of having suddenly everyone gets an app on their phone with like a thing. I quite like that idea, and it might give them clues.
It was
to
nice
give
of the
them,
local deity to give them an app.
yeah, because he believes in
He's
the
down
old
with the
ways.
modern times.
Oh
Clearly.
yeah. No more
Used to
parchment.
be a stone tablet or,
No
or
more
a
parchment. Yeah. You all get a friendly app. But what happens when their phones run out of battery?
They'll all be dead by then.
They
So
can use that as a weapon and bludgeon each
they're
other.
not. They're not. Well, I guess if they're using Apple phones, then maybe their phone will die sooner. But if they're all on Androids, they'll be fine.
I didn't see one cracked screen.
Yeah, bit disappointed by that.
Yeah, like you say, hoping for a proper horror film, not a battle royale rehash.
But
There
who
we go.
knows? We might get a horror film in our last trailer.
Let's
But,
hope so with the title, and that title is The Mutation.
I've got the
Go on,
spill.
then, give us a spiel, but it's not going to change our minds.
Yeah, but they need to hear it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
After a deadly experiment on a rat goes wrong, the mutated rat has been let loose in a city, and a group of detectives are on the hunt for the beast. Zoologist Alan Marsh must work alongside a grieving widow to help the detectives capture and exterminate the mutated rats. As the body count rises, no one is safe, and the rat is growing at a rapid pace. The Mutation from director Scott Jeffrey comes DVD digital October the 5th from Uncorked Entertainment and starred Ricardo Freitas, Amanda J. Taylor, Abby Casey Thompson, and James Robertson. And I'm guessing her husband's the rat.
One would assume so, yeah.
But I must find out what happened to my
Yeah.
husband. Yeah, he's a giant rat.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he starts off looking like one of the creatures from the labyrinth. Do you know the ones that takes their heads off and?
Do you know? I was thinking he looked like the. You know, do you remember? Is it Creepshow?
Yeah.
I think it's Creepshow where the guy's on the plane and there's something on the wing.
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, not Creepshow.
Yeah.
You're right.
John Lithgow.
Yeah.
The
That's
Gremlins.
Yeah, they called them Gremlins.
Well,
in
actually,
that.
William Shatner in the original. Sorry, in the original
Twilight
black
Zone
and white
episodes,
version. The
But yeah.
first appearance of the old thingy cigarettes as well. That was what they called. Ended up in the X-Files.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What the brand? We've got an article on it on the website.
Yeah.
Cultfaction.com. But yeah. No,
Anyway,
yeah.
Paul, you were saying.
Sorry. I missed out the big bit. The search for a cure created a monster. There you go. Over to you, Paul.
So yeah, I kind of need to work out my Halloween playlist because when's this out? Early October.
This is October the 5th.
Okay. Because yeah, I need to marry that up and put it into my month worth of films at the relevant point where I want just some comedy horror to break up some proper horror.
Did it look like in some of the attack scenes that it might have just been rogering things? 'Cause it was just kind of like, from this angle, I was like, is he killing them or?
Maybe didn't spend too much time on the choreography for the fights. I don't know.
Yeah, all the money went on that
The guy in
big
the mask
scene
couldn't
at the
see
end.
properly.
It was alright.
Well, at least it gives hope to aspiring filmmakers, doesn't it, really? You don't need too much money to make a film nowadays.
Well, again, also, don't be ashamed of what you're making. I think that's a big thing nowadays. People are like, well, I'm making that, but I'm a bit embarrassed to make that. And it looks, go for it. Go balls to the wall, like they have.
Yeah, there's demand for it.
I mean, your Sharknadoes and all that. People are like, oh, yes, well, it's just a fit. Yeah, but, it worked. They made about 6 of them and 7 of them in the end. And
They're fun to watch.
And they all made money and they were
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, no one's
Not
going...
every film has to be a deep, meaningful.
Yeah,
auteur,
not everyone's
writer,
going
whatever.
for that. Not everything's Schindler's List or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
going for an Oscar. It was a tornado full of sharks. This one just happens to be a giant mutated rat that seems to be getting bigger, and as the body count rises, no one is safe, and the rat is growing at a rapid pace.
I did struggle with some of the accents. It's like they couldn't make out whether they are
Yeah,
American
I thought
or
for a minute,
Irish.
were they Irish? Was it set? It's like look
Yeah.
at the cop car. It's like, that's an American, but they sound Irish.
Yeah.
That's a bit odd. But yeah, I think on that positive note, that draws us to an end of this week's podcast. So, as usual, don't forget to rate and review us on your preferred podcast app. If you want to get in contact with us directly, you can email us at cultfactionpodcast@mail.com. In the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And a sayonara from me.
Goodbye.
Ouija.
Japan.
Superman.
One looks ill,
Yeah. You can go like, yeah. If you're agreeing with me, then make it sound more positive, alright?
You blinded me with science.
Negativity all day!
You dirty little microphone.
Something inside so strong. Oh no, I know that I can get
Doing me wrong,
so wrong.
thought that my pride was gone.
have come.
Something inside so strong.
Oh.